What's going on, YouTube? You in the tube. So, I'm driving here tonight, and I was watching some YouTube. Sorry, it's kind of dark, so I don't know if this thing's gonna like focus on me. That might be a little bright. Hopefully it does. Sorry if it doesn't. But I was watching some YouTube, and I stumbled across a video from my good buddy Trucker B. Trucker B, big Trucker B. And he was talking about trucking fails. And I'm like, you know what? I never really talked about some of my fails. It's kind of like Illinois. There's an S on the end of it. Illinois. I have fail. Let me see if I can think about what my first fail was. Like my very first. Now, when I say fails, I'm talking about like you're actually out. You're not with the trainer. Wait, did I have any fails when I was with my trainer? No, you know what? Probably because my trainer, he didn't let his trainees back. So maybe that was a lot of reasons why I didn't have any fails. I'm trying to think, what was my very first fail? Because I've had several. I still accidentally have them now to this day. I think I failed actually the other day. We'll wait a couple years before I talk about that one. Oh. You know, for anybody who drives manual, and let me know if you do this, sometimes I'll get in the 9th gear, and I'll forget I'm in 9th gear, and I'll just leave it there. I mean, I literally been driving for about, I don't know, probably a good 20 miles in 9th gear, and I'm like, why am I not going faster? Because I'm in 9th gear. But anyway. I don't know if I'm going to be able to think of my very first fail, but I'll think of a really old one. And actually, before I get into the fails, I'll tell you how I used to train. So, I always liked for my students to do a fail, because I felt as if they did a fail, it made them a better driver. You know, because I could sit up there and tell you 97 times to watch your tandems. Watch your tandems. Don't make that turn until you know you can get out of that turn. And people just wouldn't get it. But after that time of them turning down somewhere and they get stuck, or they realize that they're somewhere they're not supposed to be, it made them a better driver. Of course, and at that point, like, I'd always sit there and I'd wait for them to make the screw up, but I make sure that I could get out of the screw up before, because I knew I was going to be I'm all blurry. There we go. I knew that I would be the one getting them out of the mess up, or at least coaching them on how to get out the mess up. So yeah, I always wait for them to make a fail, and then as soon as they was in a stressful situation, they knew better not to make that turn before they knew they could get out of that turn, if that was the right turn or not. I really need to turn off this damn light. I hate it. If I was in my truck, I have LEDs and I can just dim them and they wouldn't really bother me. But anyway. Whew. What was one of my first fails? I remember my first position I was in was I did not know how to move my fifth wheel, but that's really not a fail. Oh my God. What is... Let me pause and think about this now. Okay, this was not one of my first fails, because I'm actually had to spend some time to really think about that. But this was actually my first fail when in a lease truck, a truck I was actually leasing, and it cost me money. It was when I was running Amazon. I was maliciously attacked by one of those yellow poles in an Amazon parking lot. So I was trying to back my trailer in, but I needed a little more forward in order to back into the spot. And so there was a snowbank in front of me. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, it's snow. I'll just oof right into it, get all the room I need, and then I'll be able to back in my spot. Well, little did I know, I go and I oof into the spot, and as I'm in reverse, and you can't really see like what's right by your bumper. So it got to a point where I couldn't see my the snowbank anymore, and I got the hard, but I was turning hard left, and all the next thing I didn't hear is crunch, crunch. I was like, no bueno. So I get out, and I got bumper parts all over the damn the road. Not really the road, but the parking lot. And I broke my headlight. And it's basically just the lens is what I broke. So, and it's winter time, so if it snowed or anything, it was going inside there. And was probably going to short out the lights and all this other stuff. So I call up Freightliner, and I'm like, how much for a headlight? Like the whole, I was trying to get just the front lens for it, because if anybody's ever bought anything on for a truck, everything is expensive, everything. So I told the guy, I'm like, yeah, I just need the lens. I'm like, everything else is good. I figured the bumper, I'll leave it until I got caught. So he's like, he comes back and he's like, well, because I got good news and I got bad news. Which one do you want first? I'm like, the bad news. And he goes, well, you can't just buy the lens. I was like, oh, that sucks. I'm like, what does that mean? He's like, you got to buy the whole light assembly. And I'm thinking to myself, shit. I'm like, this is going to be damn expensive. I'm like holding my breath. I'm expecting anywhere from $300 to $500. And he comes back and he's like, goes, yep. He's like, it'll be like $100 and whatever it was, $40, $150 or something. And I'm like, for the whole assembly? He's like, yeah. He goes, it's gonna come with the lights and everything, or the headlights and everything. And I'm like, $150 for the whole assembly. He's like, yeah. I'm like, I'm on my way to come get it. So I really honestly thought that assembly with that headlight assembly was gonna be like $300 to $500, but it only turned out it was like $150. So got it, changed it myself. And then I want to say about 6 months later, no, it wasn't that long, maybe about 2 months later, 2 months, I'm back at my yard, and the owner of the company sees my truck, and I'm like, he's like, hey, get that bumper replaced before you leave. And I'm thinking, fuck. So I go in there and they put a factory bumper on there, and of course charge me. But that's one of my fails. It was definitely not my first fail. I'm going to have to think about that. But this is basically just to let you guys know that there are going to be fails in your trucking career if you're new. And the only thing is learn from them and move on. So that's my story for today. What do we do, like 10-15 minutes maybe? So guys, as always, left door closed, right foot down, only when it's safe, guys. Peace.